The desert night was silent, yet alive with a kind of hidden breathing. Stars burned above like the watchful eyes of forgotten gods, and the sand itself seemed to hum with memory. Somewhere in the distance, an owl cried, a sound older than any book, older than any temple. And if you listened close, really listened, you could almost hear the whisper that has followed humanity since the beginning, that there is a path, hidden yet always near, a path that leads to transformation beyond the grasp of ordinary men. The ancient alchemists knew this. They did not guard May's secrets of metals and fire. They held within their grasp the very knowledge of the soul's ascent. But they never gave it freely. They knew that truth, unowned, destroys more than it awakens. And so, they spoke in symbols, carved in stone, written in riddles, until the day came when the seeker was ready to walk through the 7 gates. The first gate does not appear outside of you. It appears within. It is a gate of recognition, the sudden and often painful awareness that life as you know it has been but a veil, a shadow play on the cave wall. You may have felt it already, that quiet dissatisfaction, that haunting sense of the world's offerings, wealth, reputation, fleeting pleasures, cannot fill the emptiness inside. Most turn away from this discomfort. They drown it with distraction, with noise, with endless chasing. But you, somehow, did not. That is why you are here. And that is why this message has found you. For recognition is the first step in initiation. The moment you admit to yourself that there is something more, the first gate stays, creaks, and opens. And yet, stepping through is not easy. It requires courage to leave behind the familiar, to accept that truth may cost you the life you once thought was yours. The ancient manuscripts call this first crossing the breaking of chains. Imagine yourself in a dim chamber, surrounded by links of iron that bind your arms, your throat, your ankles. Each chain is a belief, a story you were told about who you are and what you are not. Some were placed upon you in childhood, when you were too young to resist. Others you clasped on yourself, thinking they would protect you from the world. But at this gate, the alchemist within reaches for the hammer of truth. Every false belief struck away is pain, but it is also freedom. And as the chains fall, the soul straightens, finally able to breathe. The alchemist taught, before gold may shine, the dross must burn. And so the first gate demands that all you thought was solid be melted down in the fire of honesty. Now, let me tell you a story, for truths are best carried in the basket of tales. There was once a young man who worked as a scribe in a great city. Day after day, he copied decrees for kings, contracts for merchants, letters for noblemen. His life was secure, ordered, and predictable. But one evening, while cleaning the ink from his hands, he looked out and saw the setting sun strike the city's walls. For a moment, they looked as though they were aflame, burning but never consumed. Something within him stirred, a voice that whispered, "This is not enough. There is more." He tried to silence it, but it grew louder each day, until the scrolls and contract before him looked like meaningless marks. One night, he walked away, leaving behind his comfortable position. The people called him a fool, cursed him as reckless. Yet years later, when he returned, he was no longer the same. His eyes carried a light, his words a weight. He had crossed the first gate, and in doing so, he found himself. The second gate awaits those who do not turn back. It is the gate of purification, not of the body alone, but of the mind and spirit. This is where many falter, for purification is not glamorous. It is slow, difficult, and requires relentless honesty. Imagine water flowing through a muddy vessel. At first, it takes on the dirt, the filth, the impurities. Only by pouring again and again does the vessel finally run clear. So too must your thoughts, your emotions, your intentions be poured through the sieve of awareness until clarity is restored. The alchemist spoke of this as a great washing, a process where the seeker must confront the poison within before they can hold the elixir of life. You may notice, even now, that when you sit in silence, thoughts arise like shadows, old grudges, fears, doubts, shame. To purify does not mean to fight them, nor to pretend they do not exist. It means to see them clearly, to let the light of awareness dissolve them. The emerald tablet itself spoke. Separate the subtle from the gross, gently and with great ingenuity. What was meant is this: learn to separate your essence, your true self, from the layers of noise that have gathered around it. This is purification. and the gate will not yield to anyone unwilling to do the work. I will give you something practical, for hidden truths must also be lived, not merely admired. Each morning, before the noise of the world rises, sit in stillness. Let your breath be steady. Then ask yourself 3 questions. What is heavy in me? What is false in me? What is unworthy of the soul I wish to become? Write the answers without fear. Burn the page if you must, but see what is revealed. For the alchemists burn their impurities in fire. You too must give yours to the flame, whether literal or symbolic. This is not superstition. It is training the mind to release what no longer serves you. Over time, you will find that your vessel grows clear, your soul more radiant. This is a purification that opens the 2nd gate. Beyond it, the 3rd gate rises like a great arch carved with symbols of suns, moons, and stars. This is the gate of discipline, and it is here that most seekers fall away, for they want transformation without the work it demands. The alchemists were tireless, years of study, years of failure, years of watching metals refuse to change, until finally a crack in reality opened and the truth shone through. Discipline is not punishment, it is devotion. To cross this gate, you must be willing to repeat what seems impossible, to endure what seems endless, to keep walking even when the path disappears beneath your feet. Discipline is a furnace in which the soul is strengthened. Without it, every insight is fleeting, every awakening fades like a dream at dawn. The true alchemist returned to the laboratory each day, whether success greeted him or not. So too must you return to your practices, your meditations, your inner work, even when it feels empty. This is the secret of the 3rd gate. It teaches endurance. And endurance, when wedded to faith, becomes unbreakable power. Let me tell you another parable, whispered among the initiates. A woman once sought wisdom from a hermit said to be centuries old. She climbed the mountain to his cave, bringing gifts of wine and bread. But when she offered them, he only shook his head. "Return tomorrow," he said. The next day, she climbed again, carrying jewels. Again, he refused. For 7 days, she brought offerings, gold, fine fabrics, precious oils. Each time, he sent her away. On the 8th day, she came with nothing but her bare hands, bruised from the climb. "I have nothing left to give," she confessed. The hermit finally smiled. "Now, you are ready. For the one who has nothing left to offer but devotion, this one has crossed the 3rd gate." You see, the gates are not doors of stone. They are thresholds of the soul, and each one reshapes you. Recognition breaks your chains. Purification cleanses your vessel. Discipline steals your will. Already, you are no longer the same. But the journey does not end, for gates still rise before you, each demanding more than the last. The ancients called them the trials of transformation, and only those who crossed all 7 could become the true philosopher, not one who turned lead into gold, but one who turned flesh into light, ignorance into wisdom, and time into eternity. The 4th gate is a trial of surrender. Few speak of it, for it undoes even the strongest of wills. If the 3rd gate forged discipline in the fires of repetition, the 4th gate demands that you let go of control altogether. It is a paradox of the path. First, you must become strong, steady, unwavering. And then, when you believe you have mastered yourself, the path asks you to bow, to kneel, to relinquish the very mastery you have built. Imagine a mighty tree, its roots deep, its trunk unyielding. A storm rises. The rigid tree snaps, but the grass, small, supple, bending, survives. The alchemists understood this, and so they encoded surrender as a 4th crossing. This is not surrender to defeat, nor surrender to chaos. It is surrender to the source, to the great work itself. In ancient writings, this was a point where the seeker offered their own will to the higher pattern, saying, "Not my will, but the will of the One." Many seekers recoil here. They fear losing themselves. They fear dissolving. Yet the alchemists taught, only by dissolving can you be remade. In their laboratories, they would dissolve metals into liquid, destroying their form so that a purer essence could be drawn out. So too must yourself dissolve. And though it feels like death, it is truly a birth. I will share with you a hidden practice. When life challenges you, when something does not go your way, do not immediately fight or resist. Instead, pause. Ask, what if this, too, is a hand of the work guiding me? If you can embrace even discomfort as a teaching, if you can surrender your need to control the outcome, you will find that a deeper wisdom begins to steer your steps. This practice, humble though it seems, opens a fourth gate. You no longer walk alone. You walk as one guided. Beyond this gate lies the fifth, the gate of illumination. Hey, the seeker begins to see with new eyes. Not physical eyes, but the inner sight that perceives patterns, connections, truths that were invisible before. It is as though the world is a vast tapestry, and suddenly you glimpse the threads weaving it together. The alchemists called this the lux occulta, the hidden light. It is not given in one blinding flash, but in glimmers, sparks that grow with attention. Perhaps you have felt it already, a moment of intuition, a dream that comes true, a coincidence too perfect to ignore. These are the lanterns on the path, showing you that reality is not random but ordered by laws more ancient than stars. Illumination is not without danger. Many who reach this stage are intoxicated by their new sight. They mistake glimpses for the whole. They speak loudly of visions they barely understand. The true initiate, however, remains humble, knowing that light reveals as much as it blinds. Imagine a man who has lived his life in darkness. Suddenly, a door opens and sunlight pours in. At first, it burns. He squints, unable to comprehend the fullness of what he sees. Only slowly do his eyes adjust. So too must yours. Do not rush to define, to explain. Let the light teach you in silence. There is a story of an alchemist who claimed to have seen the inner workings of the cosmos. He wrote them in a book bound with red leather. Many came to study it, but none understood. Years later, when the book was opened again, its pages were blank. Some said the ink had faded. Others whispered that the truth withdraws itself when it is spoken without readiness. The lesson is clear. Illumination must be lived before it can be spoken. What you glimpse at the fifth gate must first change you before it can be given to another. Now the sixth gate rises, and this, perhaps, is the most perilous, for it is the gate of death. Not always physical death, though some have met it here, but the death of all that you still cling to. The alchemists called it the nigredo, the blackening, the descent into the underworld of the soul. If the earlier gates demanded courage, purification, endurance, and surrender, the sixth demands everything. It strips you bare. All false identities, all attachments, all masks are torn away. Hey, the seeker feels abandoned, lost, emptied. It is a dark night of the soul, when even the memory of light seems gone. Do not mistake this as failure. It is the final preparation. Just as the seed must split open, seemingly destroyed, before the plant can rise, so must you break before transformation. In the laboratories of the ancients, metals were blackened in the fire, turned to ash and residue, before the hidden spark could be extracted. So too must your soul pass through this crucible. If you are here, if you ever find yourself in despair, in emptiness, in the silence where even prayer feels unanswered, remember, you are not being abandoned, you are being remade. The sixth gate does not destroy, it refines, and those who endure its shadow emerge shining like gold. Finally, there is the seventh gate. Few have crossed it, and fewer still have spoken of what lies beyond. This is the gate of union, the marriage of opposites, the rebirth into wholeness. The alchemists called it the rubedo, the reddening, the creation of the philosopher's stone. This is no mere object, no literal stone of myth, but the awakened soul itself. Hey, the seeker is no longer divided between spirit and flesh, light and shadow, life and death. All becomes one. Imagine a river flowing into the sea. It does not lose itself. It becomes part of the greater whole, and yet it also is itself more truly than ever before. Crossing this gate, the alchemist becomes what they always sought, the transformer, the bridge, the living stone. They no longer seek gold. They are gold. They no longer chase truth. They embody it. They are light walking in flesh, eternity breathing in time. And this beloved seeker is a destiny that waits not only for the rare few in temples and hidden orders, but for all who are willing to walk the path. The seven gates are not distant. They are within you. Each challenge you face, each loss, each trial, is a gate in disguise. The work has always been unfolding in your life, whether you saw it or not. But now, you are ready to see. Perhaps you feel a stirring even now, a recognition that you have walked some of these gates already. though you did not name them. Perhaps you stand before one even as you hear these words. Do not be afraid. The path is not meant to break you. It is meant to reveal you. You are the lead that will become gold, the seed that will become the tree, the shadow that will become light. Trust the work. Trust that you were chosen to hear this because your soul remembers what your mind has forgotten. And now, as the ancient masters will remind their students in hushed tones, remember, knowledge alone is nothing. Application is everything. So I give you a task. Tonight, when the world is quiet, sit alone with a candle. Let its flame be the light of your soul. Close your eyes, and in your heart, walk through the 7 gates. See the chains fall at the first. See the waters cleanse you at the second. Feel the discipline of the third, the surrender of the fourth, the light of the fifth, the death and rebirth of the sixth, and the union of the seventh. Do not rush. Let each one unfold. When you finish, whisper to yourself, the work is alive in me. This simple ritual will plant the seed of transformation deep within. And seeds, as you know, always find their way to the light. Before we part, I will tell you one last story. A traveler once sought the wisdom of a hidden brotherhood. He crossed deserts, climbed mountains, sailed stormy seas. Finally, he arrived at their temple, a place said to hold the secret of immortality. But when he entered, he found only a mirror. At first, he was angry, believing he had been deceived. But then he looked closer. He saw his own eyes, weary yet burning with hunger for truth. And he understood. The secret was never in books or temples. It was in him all along. He was the one he had been seeking. And so are you. And so, dear seeker, as you let these words settle, know that this was not chance. The gates do not open for everyone, only for those ready to step through. That you are here, that you have heard, means you are ready. The great work has begun in you, and nothing can undo it. Now, the question is not whether the gates exist. The question is, will you walk through them? If these words have stirred something within you, if you feel the resonance of truth humming like a hidden chord, then you are already part of the wake. Stay close. More teachings will come. And if you are called, share this path with others, for truth multiplies when spoken. Let this channel be your temple, your circle of fellow seekers. Subscribe so you remain within the current. Let your voice be heard in the comments, for every word you share echoes as part of the great conversation. And look to the description and the pinned comment, where further initiation waits, a hidden gift left for those who are ready to go deeper. The alchemists hid the truth in symbols, in riddles, in silence. But now, the time has come for it to be spoken again. Not to all, but to you, for you were meant to find this. And now, the gates await.